Mr. Paul?
I thank you for yielding. I want to just make a couple points in closing. The statement at the beginning of this war was made that it's different this time, even though the history is well known about Afghanistan. It's ancient history, but it's different this time because we're different and it's not going to have the same results. But so far, they haven't caught Osama bin Laden. We don't have a national government, really. We don't have really honest elections. We haven't won the hearts and minds of the people. There's a lot of dissension, and it's a miserable place. So it's really a total failure, let alone the cost of life and limb and money. I mean, it is just a total failure. The thought that we would pursue this and expand it and send more troops just blows my mind. And I want to just mention a couple things I think are bad arguments. One is that we're involved there, we've invested too much, and therefore we have to save face because it would look terrible if we had to leave. But it's like in medicine. What if we in medicine were doing the wrong thing, make the wrong diagnosis? Would we keep doing it to prove that we're right? Or are we going to listen to the patient and to the results?
You'd lose your license.
Yeah, that's right. But it seems like politicians don't lose their license. Maybe they should, and maybe there will be more this year or something. But the other argument they make is if you take a less militant viewpoint, as we all do, that we're not supportive of the troops. The troops don't believe that. The troops I talk to, the one Walter talks to, they know we care about them and they shouldn't be put in harm's way unless it's absolutely necessary. This other argument is, well, we got to go over there to kill them because they want to kill us. Well, like I mentioned before, it wasn't the Afghans that came over here. But if we're in their country killing them, we're going to create more terrorists. And the more people we send, the more terrorists, the more we have to kill. And now it's spreading. That's what I'm worried about in this war. There was one individual, I don't know his name, but they believed he was in Pakistan. So he was part of the terrorist group, or the people who were opposing the occupation. So they sent 15 cruise missiles, drones, over, looking for him. It took the 15th when they killed him. But 14 landed, and there was an estimate made that about 1,000 civilians were killed in this manner. How many more terrorists have we developed under those circumstances? I do want to have 1 minute here to read a quote, and then I'll yield back. But this quote comes from a Russian general talking to Gorbachev. And Gorbachev went into office in '85, and this was a year later. And the general was talking to Gorbachev. He says, military. And this is after. Just think, Gorbachev was in office 1 year. He had the problem. He was trying to get out. He didn't get out till '89. But the general says military actions in Afghanistan will soon be 7 years old. And told Mr. Gorbachev at a November 1986 Politburo session, quote, "There is no single piece of land in this country which has not been occupied by a Soviet soldier. Nonetheless, the majority of the territory remains in the hands of the rebels." It reminds me of the conversation between Colonel Tu and Sumner's after Vietnam, and Sumner, our colonel, says, we defeated you in every battle in Vietnam. And Tu looked at him, he says, "Yes, I agree, but it was also irrelevant." I yield back.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Paul.
Yes, I would like to just make one more comment as we close the special order. I opened my remarks about talking about Barbara Tuchman about March Folly, and we are on the same course, and I would say it's time to march home. I'm not for sending any more troops, but it's very clear in my mind, if the job isn't getting done and we don't know what we're there for, I would say, it's time to come home. Because I fear, and it's been brought up, Congressman McGovern's brought it up, and everybody has talked about the finances of this, because it is known that all great nations, when they spread themselves too thinly around the world, they go bankrupt. And that's essentially what happened to the Soviet system. And they fell apart for economic reasons. So there's trillions of dollars spent in these operations, and we're flat out broke. a $2 trillion increase in the national debt last year, and it just won't continue. So we may not get our debate on the floor. We may not be persuasive enough, to change this course. But I tell you what, the course will be changed. But let's hope they accept some of our suggestions, because when a nation crumbles for financial reasons, that's much more dangerous than us taking the tough stand and saying it's time to come home.
Thank you, Mr. Paul.